Welcome to Machine Minds, where technology and humanity meet. I'm your host, Greg Terrusian, founder of Samson Rose, a recruiting and search business focused on the robotics and AI industries. The Machine Minds show is where we dive deep into the intricate world of robotics and artificial intelligence. As a staffing industry leader with a passion for the frontiers of technology, I'm pleased to be bringing you intimate conversations with the founders, investors, and trailblazers who are at the heart of the AI and robotics revolution. In each episode, we dig into their journeys, the applications of the products they're working on, and the breakthroughs that are shaping our future. Join us as we explore how these machine minds are transforming the way we live, work, and understand our world. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a tech enthusiast, or just curious about this amazing field, you'll learn something new with each episode. Let's delve into the extraordinary. Let's delve into machine minds. And on today's episode, we have Mitchell Weiss, Chief Robotics Officer, and Christopher Visnic, President of HDS Global. Nice to meet you both. Thanks for joining me.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Greg. Great to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's jump into it. So guys, HDS, it's a robotics, e-commerce, fulfillment, delivery concept, all of the above. Sounds really huge, really complicated. I'd love to pass it over to you for more of an in-depth understanding about what you guys do, what the concept is, and how you're going to be helping us little consumers on the receiving end.
Well, Mitchell, if you don't mind, I'll take this. So HDS stands for Home Delivery Service. And what we're doing on the e-commerce side of the business, we see huge opportunity there to improve the way groceries and merchandise is delivered to consumers at the home. And what we're doing is what we call a combination store, which is basically grocery, food, prepared foods, also general and brand name merchandise. We'll be able to deliver that to consumers at store prices without any additional fee. And the way that we're able to do that is by automating the entire fulfillment process with our robotic fulfillment system that we call RoboFS. And by subsidizing the delivery cost, the last mile, by saving labor costs and all the other costs in the fulfillment process, that's how we're going to do this. And we really feel like it's differentiated from what's out there. The last mile will be our own delivery service. It'll be a white glove service that can handle returns on the spot, and just really a pleasant experience for the consumer. You know, compared to what is out there right now, Greg, there's just a lot of churn on that side, a lot of problems for consumers when they're ordering through the e-commerce experience. And we think that this is going to be a better way of doing it. And our founder, Louis Borders, has a lot of experience here. He actually founded a company called Webvan about 24 years ago that was really successful for a while, and then failed in the end. And one of the reasons that it failed was because of the fulfillment process not being able to keep up with the demand. So Louis really learned the problem definition back then. He really understood it, and it hurt. But he really believes in this vision, and that's why he started HDS Global back in 2013 to really, readdress this problem and get it right this time and beat what's out there. So a combination store is sort of like a Walmart physical store where they sell everything, and that's been really successful. We think doing it in the digital space through e-commerce is really going to allow our company to grow greatly.
Makes sense. Well, very exciting from a consumer standpoint, because I am a consumer and user of a lot of these e-commerce and grocery delivery companies that we're indirectly referencing. And I know about the waste and issues from a consumer standpoint. So that's really exciting. And I'm looking forward to you guys being on the market. Before we jump any deeper, I'd love to get a brief background on both of you for the listeners. Mitchell, I know that you've got one of the most impressive and long reaching backgrounds in robotics. So I'd love for you to give an overview to the listeners, and then yourself as well, Chris.
Great.
Sure. It occurred to me this weekend while I was thinking about stuff that it's been 50 years since I built my first robot when I was in high school for the science fair. And I'm thinking, wow, gee, that's a long time. And they still haven't taken over. So I'm obviously not successful yet. But I purposely went to MIT when I went to college back in the 70s, to learn about robots and work in the robot industry. They told me I wouldn't find a job, but I fooled them, and I've been doing it ever since. I've worked on the space shuttle. I've worked on the original Unimate robot, started a robot company, started a material handling company that did all the wafer handling for U.S. wafer fabs, sold that, then went to work for Seagrid around the turn of the millennia. And Seagrid was the first company providing vision-based, zero infrastructure, self-guided mobile robots, vehicles inside factories and warehouses. And I left Seagrid after over 14 years, went to work for a company building a consumer product robot by the Piaggio Group, the guys who bring you the Vespa scooter and other cool things. So we had this very cool robot that follows you around carrying your load, sort of a very exotic backpack. And the great thing about that was I learned a lot about developing consumer products and driving costs down. And I came to HDS a couple of years ago because I'm excited about our e-commerce opportunity here. And just to add to what Chris said about that, we're planning on offering the customer really high quality goods. You know, if you're ordering using any of the online order from your local grocery business, how your peaches are picked and your tomatoes are picked, you have no clue what you're going to get. So a big part of our automated fulfillment is going to include very careful merchandising, picking the goods that we have that come into our facility that go out to our customers. And because it's purely an e-commerce system, no human shoppers in the building, nothing gets picked over once or twice and left behind for you, the last person to get it. And we'll be able to turn our fresh goods 2 or 3 times a day even, because we know exactly what's been ordered and how fast we have to fill it.
Love that. Yeah, the fresh produce part of it is such a pain point. I mean, the amount of times I have to refund, throw away, or complain for raspberries, blackberries, beaten up avocado, even avocados that you can't eat. Yeah. They're rock hard. So.
Why do they send you yogurt that's already past its expiration?
It's terrible, isn't it? Yeah, it's so bad. So many pain points to solve, and this is exciting to hear that something's happening for it. And Chris, love to hear your background as well.
Sure thing. So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania originally, and went to Carnegie Mellon University and have a couple of degrees in civil engineering and structural and computational mechanics. So came out of Carnegie Mellon and went to work in engineering simulation software space and was with 3 separate companies in that area for a large portion of my first part of my career. About 15 or 20 years I was in that space and did a lot of engineering work to begin with, then broadened out into technology sales and enterprise sales, and had levels of success there that was great. I then kind of got the entrepreneurial bug and was the first full-time employee at a company called C-Space. Again, it was engineering software technology that spun out of Carnegie Mellon. We were able to sell that to a French company, ESI, and really kind of built the commercial business there. Our funding came from Honda R&D ventures. So did a lot of work over in Japan and built some of our partnerships over there with Toray, and grew the business over in Japan greatly there. But that turned out to be a great experience, really on the entrepreneurial side for the first time for me. And then went on from there to IQD Solutions, again, manufacturing execution software as a service. We ended up partnering with Oracle NetSuite, and actually we're able to really build the clientele through that partnership. And they eventually acquired IQD Solutions. So got great experience, entrepreneurial experience with those 2 solutions. I kind of had a network into Autodesk and wanted to get back into that, a larger company at that point. So went back to Autodesk for 3 years and worked a lot on helping their engineering simulation investments to kind of graduate from perpetual licenses to subscription-based solutions. And I came up with an approach there that leveraged design of experiments and Monte Carlo simulations. So instead of doing deterministic analyses where you do one or two analyses, finite element analyses on a CAD model at a time, you would do 100 or 1,000. And it was helpful for us because it delivered a lot better understanding of the design space, and the customers would actually want to buy or run in parallel many simulations in the cloud. And that was really what helped us to transform the way that our customers were buying our solutions. It really was a much more value to them. They could understand failure mechanisms and problems a lot faster. And it helped us with getting away from perpetual license to subscription-based license. So that was a huge success when I was at Autodesk, and I learned a lot from that. From Autodesk, I was recruited into Seegrid, and I joined Mitchell at Seegrid back in 2015, was there for 6 years. Really proud of what we did there. Grew at over 50% compounded annual growth rate. We're, I think, one of the first profitable mobile robot companies back in 2020. It was a great experience. And I got a lot of experience on robotics and automation at Seegrid with major companies like General Motors, Amazon, UPS, Toyota, the list goes on and on. So understanding not only the value of robotics and automation in those areas, but also and how to implement them and maintain them. Mitchell and I could probably both write a book on that, the successes and failures there. So, but it's really important to understand those things when you're coming into a company like HDS and understanding, kind of been through the wars a little bit. And I feel like Mitchell and I are bringing that element of knowledge and expertise to HDS that's really been valuable.
Yeah,
valuable for us.
There's not many companies out there, commercially deploying as many robots and seeing what you guys have seen, right? In a commercial setting, trying to drive costs down and actually having real world applications that are being used. We've got a lot of really cool things happening in the industry right now, but at that scale and public knowledge, it's rare, right? Mm-hmm. So the technology behind HDS, the Robotic Fulfillment System, you guys are obviously utilizing automation, AI, machine learning, robotics, the whole gamut. Mitch, can you tell us more about, how that looks, why it's so revolutionary to the industry and the benefits that's really going to bring in terms of obviously the end consumer, but then in terms of cost, in terms of speed, in terms of efficiency?
There's a lot to unpack in that question. Thanks. The most mundane part of the answer is how you go about designing the system. You were talking about there's a lot of things going on in the industry right now. And we know with the current AI craze, which is the third one I've seen in my life. There was expert systems in the 1980s, and now there's the GPTs, and there was all the voice rec and voice ordering stuff, and oh, God help us with the answering systems that prevent us from getting to our doctors anymore. So instead of saying, oh, here's a cool piece of technology, let's apply it to fulfillment or robotics or picking, we really did a deep dig into what is fulfillment. How do the goods come into the building? How are they stored in the building? Where do we store them? How do we retrieve them? Then how do we pick them? Then how do we pack them? And we looked at that, and I had my guys do a bunch of different brainstorms, held a lot of meetings with the engineering team. What are the ways we could do this? And Chris has people in his team who look at the requirements side. So how many moves a day? How many orders are going to go out the door a day? How many boxes do those orders go in? And we don't use boxes at HDS. We use all reusable containers. A box might come into the building, but it doesn't leave the building unless we're shipping a whole box of something. So when you go through all of that exercise and you ask the question of what do I need to do, what do I need to do over and over again, you don't invent things. Things appear. Oh, I need something that does this. So if you look at all the current approaches that are going on, where people are applying AI to robots to do picking, or AI to vision systems to identify parts one from another, and they're applying learning systems to it to figure out how to segment the parts or identify the parts or something like that. We take a different approach. We know what's coming into our facility. Our facility is highly curated. It is not the post office where it's all random stuff landing every day. So I don't need a gee whiz human intelligent machine to identify the part. I need a machine that's got enough intelligence to recognize that part versus a model of what it expects to see. So that's the first step. So we change a little bit around what's going on with the machine vision stuff. It's not completely general purpose. Then we look at all the hardware sets that are out there and we say, how can we reuse this over and over? So we've developed a vision system that looks at the parts and packages that comes in, sizes them up, makes sure that the printing and pictures on them are the same as the ones we were shipping yesterday, so the customer doesn't get an unhappy surprise. And we also read the barcode and the country of origin information and the expiration date so that we can send it back if it's the wrong stuff or track it through the system. Once we've got our hands on it, we never lose it. So we put it in trays and in compartments and we store it and it travels through our system in those trays. And it never leaves the tray until it's going into the customer's container. So instead of picking parts and putting them in an intermediate container and sending that intermediate container to another operator who assembles a single order together and puts it in a box and shoves some paper in it and tapes it shut, we send all the trays to the pick and pack station. The robots pick the parts, put them in the totes that we deliver to the customer, and the customer gets it in a colored tote. And we have 3 different colors: frozen foods, chilled goods, and ambient temperature. You know, in the grocery biz, those are perishables, frozens, and non-perishables. Brilliant. So you have your box of cereal goes with your cookies and your crackers, and your milk and eggs go into a chilled container, and your frozen pizza and stuff goes into a container. It's frozen parts. So you know the cold chain's been controlled all the way through the shipment. So what we're doing differently is, what's the end thing we're trying to get out the door? And that is a nice package of goods of multiple items that you've ordered. And then to get it there, how should we handle the goods? And that's our tray-based system for everything moving around in trays. So there's AI and there's software and there's this and there's that, but we're not claiming any rocket science breakthroughs, right? It's taking all those technologies, reusing them, the same vision pipeline for reading barcodes and sizing boxes. It's the same vision pipeline software for picking items. It's the same vision pipeline for object detection in the mobile robots. Why do I want to invent 3 different sets of cameras and computers and everything else to do that stuff? So we've got a lot of technology reuse and a lot of good hardcore tech.
A lot of integration work, a lot of workflow optimization, it sounds like.
Well, we try not to customize, so that's the beauty of it, right? We've designed this thing in a very modular fashion. All communications throughout the facility are on a message bus, so we can scale up into the cloud for across facilities and then down to each machine on the edge. And it's all using the same messaging scheme. So anybody in the system can publish and subscribe. So say I get a box, I get an iPhone that someone wants to buy. So we receive it. We've got an image of that particular box, that serial number. When we go to pack it, we're taking another image of it. And when it gets shipped to the customer, we've got that image of it in the tote. If we need to, we have all those stored and we can trace them. And if we have to move the information around, well, we have a messaging system that can do that. I didn't have to build any architecture.
Amazing. It's very smart. It's very smart. It sounds like the optimal way of doing it instead of reinventing the wheel.
Bingo.
Yeah, Greg, I would add on to what Mitchell's saying too, in that a lot of the technology that's out there today is solving kind of a point solution in the fulfillment process. And there's value in doing that. No doubt. Sigrid was one of them. And there was great value that they were delivering. However, I think that if you're not trying to go from end to end and solve the problem, the process end to end, you're really leaving a lot of money on the table. And understanding the specific type of problem that you have. So for instance, our problem is very large SKUs in inventory, hundreds of thousands of SKUs in inventory, large number of items per order, large variance in the items per order, and then a short delivery time that's we expect to get shorter and shorter all the time with a growing demand curve. So when you really look at that problem and you combine all of those aspects of that problem, it becomes a very complex problem. And I think that that's why many of the companies, even the leading companies in the world, when it comes to this kind of combination store where they're selling food and groceries and merchandise, it's been a tough haul trying to get profitable with it, right? Because it's difficult to do. So we've really started from the ground up, understanding our problem from the ground up and building the solution end to end, focusing on getting it end to end. Now, there are pieces of it. We're not end to end yet. We're building pieces of it, but it's all going to be integrated together and it's going to solve the full problem. And one of the things that we have with our company that differentiates us is this kind of world-class experience and expertise on the robotics side. So we are going to develop our own robotic modules. The robotic modules that, for instance, depalletizing on the front end, we kind of see that that's going in, it's almost a commodity these days, the robots for that. So we may buy that off the shelf, but the majority of the robotic and automation that we're going to have is going to be our own trays, our own mobile robots, our own storage system, our own pack module. Mitchell talked about how we're kind of taking a different approach to automated picking, right? It's not going to be general purpose where you don't know what's in there. We know what's going to be in our compartments. And we're bounding the problem in that way and making it should be more robust and reliable. So, and because we're developing our own systems and trays and components, we really believe that our cost of performance is going to be a lot better than just buying everything off the shelf and trying to integrate it. So those are some of the big differences from what else is out there to our system and our approach.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So there's a lot of unique aspects to HDS, the way that you're attacking this problem, your business model in general. I'm sure there's a bunch of challenges that come with that, as well as opportunities. High level, can you tell me a bit more? Obviously, the complexity, I'm sure, is there, but where do you see real opportunities and also the challenges for you as a company?
Mitchell, you want to go? I'll take the business side. I think, one of the things that we see as an opportunity for us right now is it's sort of like Amazon. Amazon was always an e-commerce company. However, they developed Amazon Web Services for their own e-commerce and realized, wait a second, we can sell this. There's value here for every company in the world. And they capitalized on that and made a huge business, very profitable business out of that, well beyond the e-commerce side of it. We see RoboFS, our robotic fulfillment system, sort of in that same vein. We're not planning currently to sell RoboFS to every company in the world. We want to focus on having a small set of customers that are in non-competing verticals that we can really learn and get requirements from to make RoboFS as best as it can be, especially for our own fulfillment centers. So we're looking for companies to partner with that would invest in HDS. And then once they did that, we would share requirements, make the system more robust, and then they would have the right to actually purchase RoboFS for their own fulfillment centers. So that's kind of an opportunity, I think, with our business, the way that we're doing it because we do have robotic expertise and experience in our team. We can actually build these things from the ground up and give that cost of performance for our partners and their investors, but also customers at the same time. So that's one thing that we see as an opportunity for us that we're already taking advantage of. We have two partners right now, Toyota and Ingram Micro, that are currently there. And we're working on actively talking to several more to get to 5. We'll probably stop at 5 because we see there will probably be more than enough work there. And we do want to really have a manufacturing capacity for our partners, but also obviously for our own fulfillment centers with HDS e-commerce.
Makes sense.
And I think one of the challenges is staying focused on what we're going to be good at.
Yeah.
So I've been in the robot business a long time. And one of the things people always say about robots is, it's a universal piece of automation. I can solve any problem with this. Just tell me what your problem is. We're really focused on this fulfillment problem. And the things that make it very unique is the number of different items you're selecting from. There's this thing called micro fulfillment where there's under 10,000 SKUs. We're not interested in that. We want large product mix, short delivery time, i.e. local customers, and multiple items in the order. So Amazon, for instance, ships you 1 or 2 things at a time because your attention span online for Amazon stuff, you can place another order tomorrow. You're not paying for shipping. You don't care, right? And that mix of stuff is not unique, but there's a very focused part of the fulfillment problem that's looking at that. Huge business opportunity. I love it. It's great. It's very exciting. But it's dangerous because we could be talking to one of these potential partners that we're trying to find as an investor or whatever, and they could say, well, that's great, but we really don't ship that many different items at once, or we don't have that many SKUs. Would you work with us? And it's hard to say no, right? But that's one of the challenges we face, is staying focused on what we do and not seeing every other neat thing in the marketplace and going, let's take that diversion. And in fact, that's the challenge for any company.
Yeah, I would say that one of the targets of companies that we're looking for, Greg, is companies that could be suppliers to our e-commerce business. So cosmetic, beauty, over-the-counter pharmaceutical type companies. Those are the types of companies we're talking to because there's a synergy there. If we can help their supply chains to be better, lower costs, more robust, and then they deliver their products in our trades, it helps our fulfillment centers. So there's ways that we see that those are other opportunities that we really see for us to really, beat our competition in the e-commerce space.
Of course. Yeah, that makes total sense. I was going to say, Mitch, definitely a challenge for most companies to stay focused, especially at the early stage, right? You're almost like, squirrel, distracted. I can go this way. This might be easier route to market or something good to work on. But yeah, I can definitely relate. Well, look.
Don't put a mirror in front of a bird.
Yeah.
The bird will find a mirror.
Exactly. Well, this has been great. I feel like the time has flown by. I'm really excited with what you guys are building, this coming to market, and just all the benefits here. It seems like there's not a downside from a consumer standpoint. I can only imagine from your partner standpoint, they're super excited to have this going and actually utilize it in their warehouses and with their systems and their own fulfillment. So it's really exciting. I encourage all the listeners, please go and check out HDS Global. Where can people find out more about the company and both of you?
Yes, at www.hdsglobal.com is our website. We have our profiles on LinkedIn, probably like everybody else too, but look forward to any questions or any comments that anybody would have. Just do contact us at hdsglobal.com. That'd be great.
Amazing. Well, thank you both again. And we'll definitely be keeping in touch. And hopefully we'll get you on later down the line once we've got more partners and more things to discuss.
It sounds like a plan, Greg. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.